So the buttons could use mold. Like for the Santa that I had already made, I had used a silicone mold. Okay. Let's see which one. I think these are smaller ones. It will be better if for this size, I think it will be better to have the bigger mold. Okay, so this is pretty much a smaller button. So I'm just going to get the bigger mold and I think a size of this mold will be enough. I'm just going to try and remove all the excess from the top. I just want the level to be the same. So even if you're going to do another one, you don't want one button to be protruding out. So press it well. Okay, so I'm just going to make a few numbers, like maybe we need 5. That is a better shape. So this just changed shape. Okay, so I have the 5 buttons ready here. So the beard would come all the way till here. So I'm just going to start with 1. Three sounds sufficient enough. Here the royal icing would come and then the belt would come here. And then for the belt, okay, so the black strip has been rolled and cut. Okay. I'm just going to take it from the front. Now brush water. Okay, so you could roll it and then unroll it like how we would do for the panel method. That is just pretty much easier, right? I'm just going to have the other side, the side where there is not too much corn flour, to be facing outward like that. So we need to match the level up. Should have an overlap and then cut it as well. So in the front, I'm just going to it's trying to level up, and to complete the belt we just need a rectangular strip. I mean, it's like a box, a rectangle, okay, which I'm just going to stick it there. It's just fondant, black fondant, and cut it out. And this I will be adding it from the middle, like how the belt ends. So I think we just covered everything that we have to do with the black fondant. And now let me wash my hands, clean up. And the next thing we have is to finish the hands and then do the fur details on the dress and then the pant as well. So let's have the static image and we'll just clean up. Okay, so we're back. Just did some cleanup. I have some white fondant with me. Mm, So first I've just picked up to check. So this will just be the gloves, right? So I will be needing it, but generally to check how much is enough. So the entire thing, I'm just going to add it in and then fold it and attach it to the body. Okay. So I'm going to knead this and add it. I'm going to shape it first. Okay, I'm just making a teardrop and then I'm just going to cut out for the thumb balloon. Thumb is cut. I'm just going to thumb facing up. So it's like a glow he's wearing. And okay, you can see the thumb is facing up. And then I just removed a little bit of ganache from here. I'm just going to use the ball tool to make a bit of gap here. And brush water. The wire is poking up in there. So I'm just going to shape it, have this hole here, and then just push it in. Okay. I'm just going to turn it towards me. So how much have I pushed and how much I'm just going to pull it down and cover up the ganache. And then on the inside also, I'm just so if we are not going to have any support for it to be holding by touching the body, if it has to be hanging out, then we'll be needing more armature support. Like we'll need some wires coming out through the end of that copper wire that was added. Okay. And without support, we couldn't be having the hand, which is just all by itself. So I didn't add any armature support for the hand. So I'm just making the body itself support the hand. So it's like a folded hand. Okay. Here anyways, the fur is going to come. So this part doesn't have to be like quite uniform. So you can see the thumb and then the hand is folded with the glow that is on glove. Okay. Here again, it is the same quantity. So almost a teardrop shape, a little a flat one. And again, the thumb will be facing up, right? So I'm just cutting open a thumb first, and then I'm softening up the rest. The thumb is also softened up, and I'm just making the hole to have it poked in here. I think the right hand should have the thumb. Both the thumb will be facing on one direction. So we need to add water. Again here, I'm just going to have the thumb also folded and have it supported in the body. It's going to turn towards me. This needs extra support. We need a 18G or thicker wire. Just going to knead the fondant. Eight-inch green thicker wire. I'm just going to have it folded, cut up, have it folded like the boxing glove first. I'm just also going to keep the thumb closed and I'm just going to use, I think it's a 16G wire. I'm just going to poke it in. It's just the foil there, right? So it will go in and then given the additional support. I'm just going to add two just in case. Just trying to anchor this wire that I'm poking in, so it just stays firm enough. Okay, so I'm going to add water inside in here as well. Instead of on that, so it could take some time for it to dry because of the weight. Corn flour in a bowl. Okay, I'm just going to bend the wire so the wire balances. I'm going to start over. Okay. I'm going to keep it bent. And also the fondant is sticky now, so I'm just going to touch my fingers in corn flour. Now if I've taken the wire out, I just need to find a different place. So I could anchor the wire in properly. Okay. So you don't want the wire to be loosely fitted. You want it to be snuggled in. Or we should have planned for the wire together with the wire that we cut off because we found it extra, right? So we should have taped it together with that. Okay. So now I'm just going to insert it in with a wire that is shaped. So I'm just kneading the fondant back again because I added water into it. It's gotten a little sticky and too soft. So adding corn flour and kneading it. So here again, we could have shaped the hands using the foil, ganached over it in the shape and have a covering. And that is another disadvantage of having an entire fondant, entire modeling chocolate or even a cake or ganache for the handwear. There isn't enough support. So it's always best to shape it in the way we want. And if it is going to be heavy, then it has to be properly, the armature and the wire, every support should be in there. Okay. I'm also pushing in the other wire. So there's a wire here. I'm just going to use that to support the thumb part. I'm just going to press it in. Use the shapers and smoothness to pinch it in. And here where I am holding it to have support at the body, I'm just going to use water or edible glue, whatever would be suitable or whatever is there handy. If you think water is not holding, obviously you could just, as the next choice, use the edible glue, which is water plus CMC mixed. Okay, so now this I might have to hold it for some time. I'm just going to turn it towards me to check if they are fixed well. So it looks fine. If it is going to slide down, then I'm just going to give some support. Like maybe I should have something from here until from the board till the bottom here, allowing it to not slide down. For now, it is staying in place. Okay. So the next part will be to add the fur details. So I have royal icing. I would share the recipe that I generally prefer to use it for cake decorating, which is basically like adding textures and working on giving the fur details like this. Okay, so that is, I think, bag filled with royal icing. I'm just going to go ahead and start piping. So depending on how thick or thin I want. So I'm just going to pipe on whatever I see now and then go on and then fill up. So I'm just going to cover the initial front part of the hands. So until in here, it's like we've just finished building the base. After this is where the minute details will come, and only then the entire structure or whatever cake you're making would come to life. I'm just going to go ahead, give the textures there. In the meantime, I just want to fill up the bottom here with for details. Let me finish one layer. I'll do one more. So this piped on wherever I need the fur. So I'm just going to work on with the palette knife, the smaller one from the set of 5 palette knife, to go on and then just dab over it and just dab and then pull up. I'm just scraping off excess as I go, because I'm just going to not have a very thick layer there. I'm just focusing on having a thin layer. Obviously, I just need to sit down patiently and focus on how the texture is turning out. Though it is, it is something that has to look random, but then obviously it has to be also neatly done, right? Now, for the leg, I just want to add a thin layer, which I've already piped. Let me go around and then check if the fur is all done right. So a few more corrections maybe I could do. Like cut down on the thickness of the belt at the back. I'm just not quite happy with how thick the belt is. Cut down on that. And then just merge it up. The front seems quite fine. Okay. And some brush of gold here, and then add the detail on the shoe is already done and cut and kept. So it's like the rectangular strip, like how we've added on the belt. So those we could brush it in gold. Okay, but the other important thing that I wanted to tell is, like, you can show the full thing. So now that the body is done proportionately, though we've been doing with measurements and all, why is that? Can I have the phone? But then at this stage, if you feel the head is like too small to begin the modeling chocolate, it will be needing quite a bit of the modeling chocolate to go on. Say suppose now you can see the one that we just started off with making is like quite sturdy. I just can't change the shape of it anymore. Now it is an idea that to make the entire thing edible, you could do, like, you can see how hard it is just holding up. The hands also could be that, but then to avoid quite a bit of stress in trying to keep everything edible, obviously this is, if it is quite hard, then to bite into it and eat is not a a favorable option, but though we call it edible. Okay, so it is good to try and keep everything with the Rice Krispie treats, but then at safer places, where to cut down on the stress and the time that we need to work on, we could reduce the amount of work, like how we've added the bulk for the hands. Obviously, for this part, the palm, the gloves part, we could have also done the same thing to avoid that amount of weight being added onto the hands. Now, for this head, instead of starting from this smaller head, or maybe if you didn't have enough to start the you didn't have the Rice Krispie treats to start off the head at all, then you could build the entire head using aluminum foil. Okay, so I just wanted to show, just in case you want to start and then you feel like the head that you're building is not enough for the body, and then you feel proportionately there could be a little bigger. It doesn't have to be the actual size of the head that you're going to make, but adding foil will cut down on the amount of modeling chocolate that you need to add. And that way, you could make how much of modeling chocolate you need to add on the bulk of the face. Okay, so build the head, which is like the skull. Okay, and on top of that, obviously, you could have it like that and then start the modeling chocolate. It is going to stay good. Or you could have one layer of white chocolate painted, I mean, brushed over it, and then we could start the face sculpting. Okay, so the next lesson will be the face sculpting. We could check out on that particular lesson. And today's live is just coming to an end. Yeah, almost at 6, right? So I think all the doubts, if you guys are watching, obviously all the doubts will be shifted to tomorrow, or to cut down on, we have to, also wrap up. And it's good that we completed the entire thing. The most important thing I want to do this whole thing in live itself is to give you confidence. Obviously, in a lot of places it could have been better. If there was more time, we could obviously sit down and then focus. Also, because the angle in which I want to show it on the camera is like not very convenient for me to put it right in front of me, to given the extra details that I would like to work when I'm just turning it on to myself. But then the point to have this entire thing to finish it on a day is to give you guys confidence that the structure, obviously, that could be made ahead of time. And the head, it needs time, and that will be made ahead of time. And the entire body, when the structure is ready, you could make the entire body starting from layering the cakes and carving and ganaching to finishing the fondant details, everything in one day. So it's like structure cakes are difficult, and how many days can I keep the cake posted? Obviously today one day is a little tiring, and it is not enough to add additional details. You will need the second day, but with practice 2 days are quite enough. Obviously that is what is needed for even a wedding cake, right? So it is as much as the wedding cake. It's just a technique that we just need to learn the skill. And with little practice, it's like anybody can do. It's just like a cakewalk at the end. And to make you see everything in live, except for the breaks that we've taken. So we started off in the morning and then we are here. So face sculpting lesson will be released to you after this session. And what I'm going to do tomorrow is to have each of the structures that you guys have chosen. I'm going to have it with me, and I'm going to interact with you face on face. Like if you are there, I'm just going to start with the alphabetical order. The images will be sent onto the WhatsApp group to you guys, and all the images of everybody, they are measured in A4 size, and the structure is measured to be 2 feet tall, 24 inches, except for two, the Neytiri and the Liberty, Statue of Liberty. They are about 30 inches. Did I say feet? 2 feet is right, 24 inches, which is almost this height. So everything is going to be in this height, what you're going to do, and we're just going to control it. It is easier to work around and control if it is this size.